Welcome back to the channel. Today's story follows Emily, a devoted mother whose greatest joy in life was her energetic 5-year-old daughter, Lily. Lily had endless curiosity, a loud laugh, and a habit of asking funny questions that made strangers smile. She loved dancing in puddles, hugging everyone she met, and twirling around in her favorite yellow dress. Emily knew her daughter could be a little mischievous, but she also knew Lily had the kindest heart. When Emily's mother, Margaret, announced a huge family birthday celebration for Grandpa Richard's 70th birthday, Emily was excited. She spent days helping Lily choose a beautiful dress, matching shoes, and a tiny flower clip for her hair. Lily counted the days on the calendar, telling everyone she couldn't wait to sing happy birthday to her great-grandfather. Everything changed 3 days before the party. Emily received a message from Margaret asking her to call immediately. Expecting to discuss decorations or gifts, Emily answered cheerfully, but her smile disappeared within seconds. Margaret calmly explained that Lily was no longer invited. Confused, Emily asked if she had misunderstood. Margaret sighed and said, "Lily is too wild. She'll ruin the family photos. We want everyone to look perfect this year." Emily felt her heart sink. She reminded her mother that Lily was only 5 years old and that children naturally laughed, ran, and sometimes became excited. Margaret refused to change her mind. She insisted the event was important and didn't want chaos during the professional photo session. Emily could barely believe what she was hearing. The thought of telling her little girl she wasn't welcome at her own family celebration felt unbearable. That evening Lily ran to the door as Emily came home from work, excitedly asking if Grandma had liked the birthday card she had made with colorful crayons and glitter. Emily forced a smile and hugged her tightly. She couldn't find the courage to tell her the truth. Instead, she tucked Lily into bed and read her favorite bedtime story while silently wiping away tears. The next morning Lily happily packed the birthday card into a gift bag and practiced saying, "Happy birthday, great-grandpa." Every cheerful word made Emily's guilt even heavier. She finally sat beside Lily and gently explained that Grandma wanted only adults at the party. Lily looked confused because Emily had already told her cousins, who were 6 and 8, would be there. After a long silence, Lily quietly asked, "Did I do something bad?" Emily's heart shattered. She hugged her daughter and whispered, "No, sweetheart. You did absolutely nothing wrong." Emily decided she couldn't stay silent. She called her brother Daniel, her sister Claire, and several relatives. Most were shocked that Margaret had singled out one child while inviting every other grandchild. Some privately admitted that Margaret had always cared too much about appearances and perfect photographs. Emily hoped someone would convince her mother to change her mind, but Margaret refused every request. She insisted the decision was final. On the morning of the birthday party, Emily chose not to attend. Instead, she spent the day with Lily at the zoo, watching giraffes, feeding goats, and eating ice cream together. Lily laughed all afternoon, but every time she saw another family taking pictures together, Emily wondered how deeply her daughter had been hurt despite her brave smile. She had no idea that the birthday party she skipped was about to expose painful family truths that no perfect photograph could ever hide. The family birthday celebration began exactly as Margaret had planned. The backyard was decorated with elegant white flowers, expensive table settings, and a professional photographer moved from group to group, arranging everyone into carefully organized poses. Margaret proudly greeted guests, making sure every decoration looked flawless. She smiled for every camera flash, convinced the day would become the perfect memory she had imagined. Yet something felt strangely incomplete. Several relatives quietly noticed Emily and little Lily were missing. Grandpa Richard looked around more than once before asking, "Where are Emily and my little sunshine?" Margaret casually replied that Emily had decided not to come, avoiding any mention of the real reason. As the afternoon continued, whispers spread through the gathering. Daniel couldn't stay silent any longer. When another aunt asked why Emily wasn't there, he calmly explained that Margaret had told Lily she wasn't welcome because she might ruin the family photos. The cheerful conversation suddenly stopped. Several relatives stared at Margaret in disbelief. Claire added that every other child had been invited except Lily. Even the photographer looked uncomfortable as silence settled over the garden. Some family members quietly shook their heads, while others openly questioned how excluding a 5-year-old could possibly make a birthday celebration more meaningful. Grandpa Richard finally overheard the conversation. His warm smile disappeared as he slowly turned toward Margaret. "Is this true?" he asked. Margaret hesitated before admitting that she wanted a calm, picture-perfect event without Lily's energetic behavior. Richard's face filled with disappointment. "You excluded my great-granddaughter because she's a happy child," he asked softly. "Birthdays are about family, not perfect photographs." His voice remained calm, but everyone could hear the sadness behind his words. Margaret tried to defend herself by saying she only wanted one peaceful afternoon, but Richard gently interrupted her. "If a child can't laugh at my birthday, then this celebration means nothing." The atmosphere completely changed. Many relatives agreed with Richard, sharing stories about how Lily always made family gatherings brighter with her innocent jokes and endless energy. Even some cousins admitted the party felt unusually quiet without her cheerful laughter. The expensive decorations suddenly seemed unimportant compared to the empty chair where Lily should have been sitting. Margaret looked around and realized that instead of admiring the beautiful event, everyone was discussing the little girl who had been left behind. For the first time that day, she began to question whether protecting perfect pictures had cost her something much more valuable. Meanwhile, Emily and Lily were finishing their afternoon at the zoo. As they prepared to leave, Emily's phone began ringing repeatedly. Daniel explained everything that had happened at the birthday party. He told her Grandpa Richard was deeply hurt after learning the truth and had refused to continue taking family portraits until Emily and Lily were included. Several relatives had already left the photo session in support of Emily. Hearing those words, Emily felt overwhelmed with emotion. She wasn't seeking revenge or an apology, she had only wanted her daughter to be treated with love and respect. As she looked at Lily happily holding a small stuffed giraffe she had won at the gift shop, Emily silently promised herself that no one would ever make her little girl feel unwanted again. She knew the next conversation with her mother would determine whether their family could truly heal or remain divided forever. The following morning, Emily's phone rang just after breakfast. The caller ID showed Margaret. Emily hesitated before answering, unsure of what to expect. On the other end, her mother sounded nothing like the confident woman who had insisted on perfect family photographs. Her voice was quiet and filled with regret. "Emily," she said softly, "I made a terrible mistake. Can we talk?" Emily agreed, but only if the conversation included honesty. Later that afternoon, Margaret arrived at Emily's house carrying a small bouquet of flowers and a wrapped gift for Lily. As soon as Lily opened the door, Margaret knelt down with tears in her eyes. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart," she whispered. "You did nothing wrong. Grandma was wrong." Lily looked at her mother before stepping forward and giving her grandmother a gentle hug. Children often forgive much faster than adults, and Margaret's tears flowed freely as she realized how close she had come to damaging their relationship forever. Emily invited her inside, where the three of them sat together in the living room. Margaret admitted she had become so focused on creating a flawless event that she forgot the true meaning of family. She confessed that she had worried more about what people would think of the photographs than about how a little girl would feel after being rejected. Emily listened quietly before saying, "Pictures only capture faces. They don't capture love, kindness, or the memories we create together." That afternoon, Grandpa Richard arrived with several family members, carrying a homemade birthday cake that still had one candle left unlit. Smiling warmly, he said, "Yesterday didn't feel like my birthday because someone important was missing." Everyone gathered in Emily's backyard instead of a fancy venue. There were no expensive decorations, no professional photographer, and no carefully arranged poses. The children ran through the grass, played tag, laughed loudly, and even accidentally knocked over a few paper cups. Instead of becoming upset, everyone laughed together. Lily proudly carried the colorful birthday card she had made days earlier and handed it to her great-grandfather. Richard hugged her tightly and called it the best birthday gift he had received all year. One of Emily's cousins took simple pictures using a phone. The photos weren't perfect. Some people blinked, others laughed in the middle of the shot, and Lily made a funny face in almost every picture. Yet when everyone looked at the images later, they couldn't stop smiling. Those photographs showed genuine happiness instead of forced perfection. Margaret quietly looked through them and realized they were far more beautiful than the carefully planned portraits from the previous day. She finally understood that family memories are made through love, not flawless appearances. Before everyone went home, Margaret stood in front of the family and sincerely apologized for hurting Emily and Lily. She promised she would never again value appearances over the feelings of the people she loved. Emily accepted her apology, not because the pain had disappeared overnight, but because forgiveness gave their family a chance to heal. As the sun began to set, Lily ran across the yard laughing with her cousins while everyone watched with smiles. Grandpa Richard wrapped an arm around Emily and quietly said, "One day, no one will remember the perfect photographs that were never taken. But they'll always remember the day our family learned that love is worth far more than perfection." Emily looked at her joyful daughter and smiled, knowing that this imperfect day had become the most beautiful family memory of all.